And welcome folk. For those of you that are looking for a much easier ride than the last one, then we recommend the Tywyn Loop, and we've got a GPX file available on our Komoot page. Just search for Paul and Diane on the Tandem. Have a look at the route here. It's not really got any high points in it, not much climbing. 450 foot from 225 doesn't leave us with very much. And those climbs that we have got, you know, they're short and sharp and they're over. So we started just outside the village of Tywyn, and we started right by the library there, and you can see the library as that single-story building on the left, and then you just go through the first part of the town, which is fairly straightforward, and then we head out on the main road. Now, almost immediately you join a cycle track that runs parallel with the road. It's not the quietest, and I would say this is really a journey of two halves, because when we first leave, then it's pretty grim, but then we've got that turn at the top there, and then the top half of this route, the northern part, is much more attractive. You're going through countryside that varies quite a lot. There's a wonderful stopping space which I think is called Bird's Rock, and we stopped there for our lunch because we started late again, but generally it's a lovely place, and that's also an alternative place where you could start the ride. In fact, there's loads of places to start, but that's probably one of the most convenient, and that wouldn't be too bad. We just like to get the grotty bit out of the way, which is that long straight road. So we then head round, you head southwest. You do have to watch out for this junction here. The road seems to want to immediately turn you left and feed you round at that junction, but you need to turn right. Then that takes you round the hills and around that big estuary, and then back down along the coast, back into Tywyn, the town. And quite a nice place to stop and have some ice cream as well, which is what we did. So this is the little ice cream parlour to the left of that pink building, and there are others there as well. It's a very low level town, but you can see the hill in the background. None of it is particularly tall. Okay, so let's have a little bit further look at this route before we head off. And the key thing is that south of this loop you really just need a bit more sense, but it's great for those of you that are road riders. The whole surface, the whole way is excellent. Okay, so here we are going through the town. It wasn't too busy, and then we get out on this main road that's pretty grim, but there's actually a cycle path that starts almost immediately on our right. So this is where we stopped. This is where the cycle path really begins, and a little bit of hesitation waiting for traffic, then we cross the road, and then you follow parallel along this cycle path. Sometimes it takes you away from the road and around a few houses, but generally you're pretty close to the main road. And what we've got to do is to get around those big hills that you can see in the distance. So here's this little dog leg, and then we're back onto the main road. The traffic is fairly consistent. I wouldn't say it was over busy, but because the road is quite steep-sided on each side, you just need to watch out. It's very easy to psychologically get pushed over. So for those of you that have road bikes and are used to road riding, this will be a very easy loop, and I don't think you'll have any trouble. But what we're going to be looking for is a route off on the left later on. So we follow the road round, and it does begin to open up, and it's certainly a lot quieter around here. And I'm pretty sure there's a river down on the right hand side at the bottom of the valley there. And we're going to follow this road along around the hills, and then not long after this town we start to ascend a little bit, and we're looking for a road that's just on the left, and I'll slow the video down at that point so that you can start to see your way around the corner. So it's almost just coming up here on the left. There you can see, and it's at this point it's very easy to miss it. We need to turn left and head up the hill. And the moment we start up the hill, then this is rather nice. We did meet another car coming the other way at one point, I think, or maybe that was the second time we did it. But It's very peaceful from this point on, so you'll hardly meet any other vehicles. So we follow round. We've done most of the ascending, and there's a little bit of descent again now as we come back down to a couple of 100 feet above sea level, over a few bridges, through the farms, and then we start heading towards Bird's Rock, and you can see that there as a big peak in the distance, and this is where we stopped. We had some lunch, and this would be a great place to start from if you didn't mind splitting the pretty bit into two halves. But it's a lovely place, it's very peaceful. There's a campsite on the other side of the road, and it's this section that we're doing here will also be repeated when we cycle up to Cregennan Lake later on. So this is the low part of the route, and then the road to Cregennan is just off on our right, up here by one of the bungalows. Maybe that route we've just done. So we follow through, and you can see there are very few other cars, and yeah, just a very peaceful route, and it's really a bit of a floodplain down here as well. And just before we reach the end of it, we're going to start to ascend a little bit just after those towns, villages really, and we go up a bit of a hill here, which was moderately steep, I would say, but not beyond what any of you are capable of. And then this is the point where you have to be very careful and make sure we turn right, and that's why we hesitated at that point, because the indications seem to be that we should be going left, but we're definitely going right, and you can see where I pointed my finger to say go right. So we head off. The road is a bit busy to start with, but we're going to be taking a left-hand turn up here, and then after that it almost completely, any other traffic vanishes. So at the end of this long wall there's a bit of a village, and then we zip left. There we go. And now we're heading across the countryside, and we're heading almost directly towards the coast, and you can see the coast is there on our right. Clearly it was a military station during the last war. There's all sorts of things, and this is a disused road which goes on for quite some while, and then goes over the bridge towards the town, but very, very tranquil. Definitely recommend this bit. Road surface is in excellent condition because there's no lorries or anything like that. And then we join up. Just be careful on this bit, that we found there was a lot of traffic, particularly parked cars, and then we're just heading back to the seafront. And once you hit the seafront, there's loads of places to stop. You can have a cup of coffee, plenty of coffee places along there. So we stopped for an ice cream and a bit of a rest. We had a lovely chat with another couple that had got their bike there, and then we head off. And it's just a very short jaunt around the edge of the town, and then we head back. Once we go over the railway, we head back through the town, and now we're almost back at the library. We cut through the park at that point, and here we are back at our car. So a review of the route: we started down in the bottom southwest, headed up along the main road right up to that very sharp hairpin, which is a steep climb at the top there, then follow round, and it's a pretty part of the route. Wiggle your way round southwest until we get towards the coast, and this is that second route, so it shares a similar bit of route, but then we turn right. This is on another route, which is our next one that we're going to document, and then we head up towards Cregennan Lake, and you could actually go off into Barmouth and then combine that with our Snowdonia Route 3. So again, here is the route that we've just taken, and it's a magnificent route, and we'll see how it just ties in with so many other routes that we've done. Don't forget to visit our commute page. There's opportunity, if you look on the right hand side there, export to GPS device, that downloads a GPX file, and you can load that into whatever else, whether it's Strava or whether you've got a Wahoo navigation device or something along that line, Garmin, on your bike. But yeah, do give us a thumbs up at the bottom of this video, and don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on our next long ride. So take care and have a great ride. Bye.